Ohio State fans, if you tuned into the Texas A&M vs. Miami matchup and came away unimpressed, you weren't alone, and that's exactly why the Buckeyes might be the biggest winners of that entire mess. What was supposed to be a high-stakes college football playoff showdown instead turned into a sloppy, wind-blown reality check for two programs still trying to figure out who they really are on the national stage. Meanwhile, Ohio State was watching closely, and what they saw had to put a smile on Ryan Day's face. A scoreless half in a playoff game is never a great look, especially when both teams are trying to prove they belong among college football's elite. Yes, Texas A&M and Miami have talent. Yes, their rosters are loaded with future NFL players. But talent alone doesn't win championships, and that game at Kyle Field exposed just how far both teams still are from operating at Ohio State's level. Execution was shaky, quarterback play lacked rhythm, offensive creativity was limited, and the environment seemed to overwhelm rather than inspire. From Ohio State's perspective, this was the best-case scenario. The Buckeyes didn't just earn a first-round bye, they earned clarity. Watching Miami and Texas A&M struggle to move the ball, deal with adverse conditions, and maintain composure only reinforced what many already believe: Ohio State is operating on a completely different tier. When you compare sideline organization, in-game adjustments, and overall discipline, the gap becomes obvious fast. Ryan Day doesn't need to overthink this one. Ohio State doesn't need trick plays, wild formations, or a fully unleashed playbook to handle either of these teams. As long as the defense holds its ground and plays to its standard, the Buckeyes can control the game on their terms. This team is built to play fast, physical, and clean football, three things that were missing for long stretches in that Miami A&M game. What really stands out is experience. Ohio State has been here before. This program knows what playoff pressure feels like. They've been tested in massive games, under the brightest lights, against the toughest competition. Miami and Texas A&M? Not so much. That lack of postseason polish showed up in missed opportunities, conservative decisions, and an overall hesitation that elite teams simply don't have. And let's talk confidence. Ohio State isn't just talented, they're motivated. Coming off a season that didn't end the way they wanted, this roster is playing with purpose. There's a chip on their shoulder, and that's dangerous. Every position group is stacked. The margin for error is thin for their opponents but wide for the Buckeyes. That's what elite depth looks like. Even looking ahead to the bigger picture, Ohio State remains in a favorable position. Whoever survives this side of the bracket still has to raise their level significantly to challenge the Buckeyes. And after that, you're potentially looking at heavyweights like Georgia or Ole Miss. But here's the key difference: Ohio State doesn't need to figure things out on the fly. They already know who they are. That's the advantage of consistency. Year after year, Ohio State reloads instead of rebuilding. The standard never drops. Coaching continuity, player development, and recruiting dominance all show up when it matters most: January football. While Miami and Texas A&M are still chasing validation, Ohio State is chasing trophies. Make no mistake, respect is still required. In the college football playoff, anything can happen. One bad quarter can change everything. But based on what we've seen, Ohio State doesn't need to panic, rush, or overextend itself. Play Buckeye football, win the matchup up front, and let discipline do the rest. So if you're an Ohio State fan, that clown show in College Station wasn't frustrating, it was reassuring. It confirmed that the Buckeyes belong exactly where they are, and that their path forward is very real. The road to a national title is never easy, but compared to the chaos unfolding elsewhere, Ohio State looks calm, prepared, and ready. And that's a scary sight for everyone else. If you enjoyed this breakdown and want more college football analysis, playoff talk, and Ohio State coverage, make sure to subscribe to Today Info TV, hit that like button, and turn on notifications. Big games are coming, and we've got you covered.